I am ready.
Hi, Patrick. Welcome to Linear Rock.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So great to have you. Thanks for taking your time to talk to me today.
Of course.
You are from Cleveland, if I'm correct, but
Uh,
Galante sounds like an Italian name.
I'm actually from Buffalo, New York. I was in a band from Cleveland
Okay.
for the beginning of my, musical career. So I did live there for a few years, but I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. And yes, Galante is of Sicilian descent, actually.
Okay. How far it goes back in the origins of the family? I mean, your
Oh
dad was in
man.
Italy or your
No, so
granddad?
I believe my grandfather was born in America. So my great grandfather and before and on was from Sicily. Yeah.
All right. So you joined Inc. in 2018
I
as
did.
the new drummer. All right. How did it happen? Did you know Ice Nine Kills already? And did you jump on it? Or it was a hard decision actually to leave your own band?
It was actually a fun story is that my original band Affiance from Cleveland, mentioned before, had done a couple tours opening for Ice Nine Kills. Ice Nine Kills' first European tour, Affiance was actually the direct support band, and we did a full U.S. tour with them as well. And when Affiance had kind of gone on hiatus in 2017 and we stopped touring, about a year went by, and JD, who was playing guitar in Ice Nine Kills at the time, had given me a call and asked if I wanted to fill in and play drums on Warped Tour in 2018, the final Warped Tour. And seeing as I wasn't touring with Affiance anymore, I jumped on it immediately. I said yes. I said yes immediately. I started learning the songs. Luckily, I was familiar with a lot of the songs already just from being on tour with Ice Nine Kills and being a fan of Ice Nine Kills before that. I mean, I met Spencer back in 2007, maybe, when he was out. He was selling CDs out in a line to people at a Armor for Sleep show in Buffalo. He was outside selling CDs, and I bought a copy of The Burning in 2007 from him. And here we are so many years later, and I'm actually in the band.
And did your participation, your involvement with Ice Nine Kills evolved since you joined, and how?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that going from thinking that I was just kind of doing them a favor and playing on Warped Tour, that turned into very quickly, actually, me being in all of the music videos that they were filming at the time and all of the new promo photos for the Silver Scream. Even though I wasn't in the band yet, they needed, a body to be in these photos and to be in the music video. And even before I played my first show with Ice Nine Kills, I was already doing music video shoots and photos with them. So it kind of turned into, holy cow, am I actually in this band? Because I can't just play one tour with them now, because people are going to be seeing me in these videos and these photos. And, it turned into, my full-time gig pretty fast. I was immediately welcomed in with open arms. And after Warped Tour, it was that was my gig now. They told me about the next tour that was happening and the next tour and, the Silver Scream release, and they had my name on the record. And, it all happened really quick, actually.
And did you have freedom since day one in your approach to the drums in the band? And what do you think you brought to the picture, maybe not only drum wise?
Yeah. uh, learning a lot of the stuff that I was learning from Every Trick in the Book and Silver Screen Part One, because I had no involvement in actually writing any of those drums. That was all, mainly JD, who was playing in the band at the time, and a couple of our producers doing the drums for those. I really wanted to do my best to learn the material dead on as best as I could, and then get comfortable enough to throw in, what people would say is my style into that. And I think that when you listen to our live record that was recorded in 2019, that has me playing drums on it, and if you compare those songs to the recorded songs off of those albums, you can definitely see that I'm doing my best at playing those parts the exact way that they should be played. But there's definitely some freedom that I was given to, you don't have to play a fill exactly right, or you don't have to do this part exactly like the record. You can make it yourself. And I think there's a lot of times where I go back and I'll listen to the records and it kind of sounds weird to me because I'm so used to what I do now after years of muscle memory and years of doing this, that it kind of sometimes throws me off when I'm listening to the records. But I think that everybody's pretty happy with what I've done myself and what I've added to the music. And as far as outside of the music goes, when I first joined on Warped Tour, I was very much part of the crew as I was part of the band. So loading and unloading trucks, loading trucks, if we were on a headlining tour, I was always involved in packing the trailer and packing up my own drums and setting up my own drums. So I've always been very hands-on with my instrument, and I brought that mentality with me. I think that before we had this big crew that we have now, a lot of that came down to myself, our sound guy at the time, and our guitar tech kind of being the crew. And I still have that mindset now. There's oftentimes now, even with a bigger crew and people doing jobs, that our stage manager has to tell me, hey, you don't have to load that case, or you don't have to do that kind of stuff. And I want to do it so bad, though. It's just what's in my head.
And was the movie Popcorn Kid your own idea?
that was an idea that was brought to me from Spencer and the guys at SJC. They had been talking without me knowing. So when they came to me with that idea, I was kind of just like, I didn't really want to step on Spencer's vision there, because this was like Spencer's baby. He was like, this is what I want it to look like. And I was like, you are crazy, and I'm totally down for this. Let's see what happens. And I was all on board. I helped with, just from the person who has to play the drums from that standpoint, kind of the physical designing of them, and like knowing that, the rims of this thing are now an inch bigger with the popcorn cutouts and stuff. So they kind of had my involvement in, how is he actually going to play this instrument now? But that idea all just came from Spencer's wacky brain, and I love it. And it's cool to be kind of known for something now that, like, not everybody has. I think I might be the only one with a drum kit that looks like that.
And changing heads, I think it's more complicated.
Yeah, there's a very small amount of room that I can get my fingers up to tighten the lugs down.
I see. Okay, so welcome to Horrorwood. The Silver Screen 2 is dated now 2021, and came 2 years after Chapter 1. Is it inspired, of course, once again, by various classic horror movies, from Hostel to Nightmare? Who else, apart from Spencer in the band, is so crazy about, horror films? Can we define it like a collaborative effort since day one, since this idea came about?
I think I can confidently say that Spencer's love of horror films has definitely broadened my love of horror films as well. I definitely wasn't as into like the slashers and the very like bloody, gory stuff until he kind of started showing me different movies and, you know, kind of making us watch movies on the bus that maybe we didn't want to watch. You know, I'm a big, like, I love a good zombie film, and I'm all on board for that. And then he like puts on Terrifier on the TV, and we're like, I don't know if I'm gonna sleep tonight. But I think between him, his co-writers and his producers, and you know, myself, Joe, Dan, Ricky, I think that we all kind of share we share in Spencer's love for horror films as much as he kind of is at the top of the list, and we kind of fall underneath and in between, and you know, we help as much as we can, but I don't think there's anything that our brains can do that would match what Spencer's like love and very intimate knowledge of these movies. What he brings to these songs is something that is like, that is a him thing. And if he needs us to kind of you know, translate some musicality from the scores of the movies and like little stings here and there, that's definitely something that's more in our realm, when that's what we bring from the movies, is our knowledge of the music aspect. But we cannot touch what he does lyrically and with the themes. He's so good at it. And it's just something that he's so passionate about that, you know, I wouldn't even want to touch the lyrics or anything like that, because it's just all him.
And it's not just the songs, because you have also very well produced videos that goes with it. We can call them cinematic horror short films.
Yeah.
They are, and they are very, very good, based, of course, on the movie that the tracks were written about. I want to go deep, you know, into the writing process, because it's, you know, seems very weird. You said that sometimes you watch movies on the tour bus and so on, but is there actually any meeting that you organize, you know, to watch the movies and go into the atmosphere and then translate it into the music that you actually write?
Yeah, that's something that definitely, you know, Spencer will do that. I feel like a lot by himself. He will immerse himself into a movie without any other distractions, and he kind of creates this master list of movies that he feels like he is going to be able to write a very good or tell a very good story along with it and write about. And you know, we do. We have rented out movie theaters and just gone ourselves, especially during 2020, 2021, when it was still kind of unsafe to be in large groups. You know, we would get together, whether it was in Massachusetts or Los Angeles, and we would rent out a movie theater and go see, just, you know, the five of us, maybe six of us, and go see the new Candyman, or we saw Halloween Kills. And you know, that was definitely a group experience for us, was to experience those movies together. And I think that involving that kind of thing in the writing process definitely helps. I mean, like watching a movie on the bus with all the distractions and all the people in and out and this and that, like, it's fun to do that and to share in film with your friends. But I think that when it comes down to, you know, the creative process, it definitely is something where, you know, we would have to you know, make it a thing, make it a meeting, make it secluded, and really be involved in it. And you know, there has definitely been a few times where us as a group have done that. I think that comes down to more, you know, a Spencer and Joe kind of thing, or a Spencer and Dan kind of thing, where I think that they in the beginning of the writing process for a song really immerse themselves into the film, whether Joe likes it or not. Because Joe's the squeamish one. Joe will kind of get a little, you know, covers his eyes, and you know, if you hear skin being pulled off, he's kind of a little out there. But you know, I think Spencer likes making him a little uncomfortable, because I think it brings Joe a little bit out of his comfort zone.
let me tell you that you are really an amazing drummer. I watched, also some videos with just the drum cam, and it's unbelievable. You're very solid, and of course, in the songs, in the arrangements, you're not just the backbone of the rhythm. You stay up on the arrangements, and you are very, very precise, millimetric, I must say.
Thank you so much.
And usually, the drums are the last piece added to the puzzle while arranging songs. But the drums are also the first thing tracked in the studio. Do you usually stick to the first inspiration, or work, on your patterns till the very last minute before recordings?
It's definitely a to the last minute thing. The thing that's so cool about Ice Nine Kills and the way that Spencer writes is that he likes to have rhythm matching rhythm. So his vocal patterns, he likes to have the drums match his vocal patterns. He likes to have, accents with the vocals be accented with the drums. So when a song is first being written, there's a very a toned down drum track, a demo version of a drum track that's going to be there from the beginning of the process to Spencer writing vocals. And then when Spencer starts to write his vocal melodies and his vocal patterns over it, the drums start to evolve and they start to change and they start to match with what he wants. And it gets down to drums end up being maybe like the last thing that has the last final touch on it, whether it's something that we go in and just edit on the computer in the session after everything is recorded. There's little things and just like little minute details that get added in after his vocals are recorded. And I've brought that technique with me through other musical projects that I do drums for, is stuff that I wouldn't think about, like matching vocal patterns with drum patterns and kind of how they can go together. And that's a cool thing that I've learned from being in this band, for sure.
Compared to the Silver Scream one, this second part seems structured more like a complete body of work instead, of just a collection of tracks. Was this approach a smart plus, considering that usually people, let's say towards, sequels, talking about great movies, are always very, very severe. Plus, this is not, a concept for everybody. As you said yourself, it was maybe sometimes hard to watch some movies. Yeah. So did you have this in mind?
I think that the idea and the concept has evolved since the writing of Silver Scream 1. I think that after Spencer kind of got the taste for a concept record with Every Trick in the Book and the Enjoy Your Slay, which came in between Every Trick in the Book and Silver Scream 1, about The Shining. I think as he kind of was sorting out this concept, that the Silver Scream 1 might have just been kind of I don't know if he had thought as far ahead as Silver Scream 2 when he was doing Silver Scream 1. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he wrote a very cool concept record, not knowing that he was going to want to turn it into a massive, almost cinematic universe that is now this Ice Nine Kills universe. And I think through his ideas of making the music videos have a longer story connected with it and kind of turn the music videos themselves into a movie, I think that as the success of that grew, I think more and more ideas came into his head on how to evolve the story. And I think that's why the Silver Scream 2 seems a little bit more maybe put together and it may be a little bit more cohesive, because he knew what he was doing this time. We kind of had the idea of we're continuing the story. So making the sequel kind of make more sense was because we had more time to kind of think about how to make it a sequel. And I think that coming into possibly doing, you know, a part 3. It's just going to be even more in depth, and I think we're really going to chase this whole concept of it being a cinematic universe, and with the rest of the music videos that are going to be coming out for Silver Scream 2, I can't say much, but there's this storyline just gets he's just evolving it so much. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. You know,
I
chapter 3, you know, was in the can, so you know, you sort of already answered that. And
yeah, there have been since we've been on tour, we've been out on the road now for coming up. I've been away from home for almost 2 months now, and you know, I think Joe and Spencer are kind of getting into a few writing sessions here and there. Joe will just have his laptop out, and Spencer will come in with his phone, and he's recording a vocal melody, and he's giving it to Joe, and Joe is writing piano parts to it real quick. They're starting to get the ideas out there, and I think that Spencer is starting his list for what movies could be included in this third part. Which I keep saying, I really hope the CD comes with 3D glasses, because it's got to be in 3D somehow.
you know, Spencer is currently the only remaining founding member of the band. I read there are like actually 12 former members, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think that these changes of lineup influenced from your year, and of course you came after, but you know, do you think that in a sense influenced the artistic direction, the artistic path of the band? And is Spencer more bossy or scary and intimidating? He plays the serial killer, so you gotta watch out.
Yeah, this has really been, I mean, Spencer has been Ice Nine Kills for what, over 20 years now. And I think that the like iteration of Ice Nine Kills that we're in now is maybe like the 4th. And I think that just comes with the way that people and musicians grow and change and have other things that they want to accomplish. And I don't think it has anything to do with, you know, Spencer not liking his bandmates or his bandmates leaving for this or this reason. I think that it's just the way that people grow and the way that people, you know, so the people that you surround yourself with, especially on tour, being together for so long, you know, some people it's not for everyone, and you know, being with a certain group of people for a long time is not for everyone. And I never, I guess I never thought of the member changes as necessarily a bad thing with Ice Nine Kills. I think that you can see the progression of creativity and music through the entire catalog. And though it's always been Ice Nine Kills, because Spencer has always had a hand in the writing process, you can see the changes from the first EP to the records that JD was writing on. And then you can see the changes where, you know, Spencer and his producers had a little bit more input, and now with Silver Scream 2 that it was mainly, you know, Spencer, Joe, and Dan writing that stuff. And you know, you can see the songs that have me and Ricky our inspiration on those too. I like where we're at now, musically and creatively and creatively, and you know, I think that, you know, come another 5-6 records, sure, there might be other people in the band at that point too, but I don't see Spencer stopping Ice Nine Kills at any point in time. So as other people grow and maybe you know, change what they want and change what they want to do, there's always going to be, I think, an Ice Nine Kills, and I think it's always going to be in the same like realm of what you're getting now. And no, I can say that I'm not too scared of Spencer. I know he comes off as a bit of a psychopath, but I don't think that guy could hurt a fly, honestly.
Okay.
He's a very good friend, and
Okay.
and he's very funny. He's very funny to be around, and his love and passion for music and movies is something that, like, I'm grateful to have that in my life, because it helps fuel the things that I'm passionate about as well.
as you said, it's 20 years of Ice Nine Kills already.
Yeah.
You are a cult band indeed, but recently, you know, things seems are moving very fast. Billboard, lots of streams, huge events. So it's in a sort, you know, becoming mainstream. Is that something you're aiming to, assuming that it's something that you can plan, because
Mhm.
it doesn't depend just on you, but is it something that can be dangerous for a band like your band?
I think that I've seen in a lot of other bands that were in kind of like the metalcore scene genre. I think I've seen a lot of times a band go full mainstream on a record and then it not pan out the way that they want. And then their next record, they kind of go back to their roots a little bit and make something that they know their older fans will probably like more. I think that we have done a very good job, especially with Silver Scream 1 and Silver Scream 2, you know, these two albums that have kind of gotten the most attention and have been responsible for a lot of the success so far. I think that there's a very, very good balance on those two records of your mainstream songs, your radio hits, your heavy songs, your technical songs. I think that there's a very good balance throughout those records with that. And I think that that shows in the way that we're playing, you know, we're playing shows with Metallica, and Metallica's fans aren't booing us off stage. And I would say that that's kind of a thing where we can play our mainstream, you know, radio hits for these fans. And they're like, wow, I like this band. And then we can play, you know, go in and play a song like Worst Vacation or Funeral Arrangements and have those same fans be like, oh, they get heavy too. I like that. I think that the mindset of making something mainstream doesn't have to be an all, you know, all encompassing thing. I think that you're able to make the songs that you want to be mainstream, and it doesn't and it doesn't make you any more or less of a metalcore band. And I think that we're doing a very, very good job at that. And I think people, you know, also like the mainstream stuff. They like the heavy stuff. They like the technical stuff. It's all Ice Nine Kills to them, you know?
Yeah. And they like the Theatricore stuff.
Yes, Theatricore. I remember when that term first, it was on the tour that Affiance was opening for Ice Nine Kills in Europe. I remember seeing on a ticket, it said Ice Nine Kills, and then underneath it said Theatricore. And I was like, that's not bad.
Yeah, it goes to the point.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so as you mentioned, you did some shows with Metallica and the people embraced what you did. But do you think it's, you know, such big events fit what you do? Or it's, you know, maybe the club situation which you are doing in at the same time headlining is better? And isn't it shocking, you know, dealing with both situations at the same time, huge crowds and your own, which is
Yeah.
good crowd but smaller?
Yeah, it definitely is a you know, it's a strange thing. You know, we've played shows with Metallica before. Last year we played 3 stadium gigs with them. And we're on tour with them for the next 2 years now, playing every, you know, second day that they play or whatever. And yeah, it is strange doing, you know, a club show for 2,000 people the night before and then going and playing to, you know, a 60-70,000 cap arena, but we're playing at 6 p.m. So there's only, you know, maybe 10,000 people scattered in the arena. So it almost doesn't even look like we're playing to that many people. You know, and because of the way that this stage is set up, it's a ring with people in the middle and people on the outside. So our whole shtick kind of can't be done because we need a little bit of, you know, we need a backdrop. We need to be able to be having costume changes, and it kind of reveals everything when we're playing on a stage that's literally surrounded by people. So we've kind of adapted our show, and we're playing certain songs that don't really need or don't really call for the main theatrics. We're playing songs with Metallica that involve more stage actors that are up there with chainsaws and masks, and more of just a presence rather than like setting a scene, which is obviously way easier to do in a club setting. And that's what we've been doing on the headliners, being able to bring out and set the shower scene up and have Chevy get killed behind the shower scene, and there's a lot of like stage magic that happens at a club show. And it kind of the same thing happens with like festivals that we play, or bigger events that we play during the daytime when it's 100 degrees outside and the sun is out. We can't really do any fun gimmicks that involve light tricks, or you can see everything that's happening backstage. So there's definitely like a dichotomy between the two, and we kind of have to figure out what songs to play in certain venues to achieve what we want to achieve and still be Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah. On your stage, there's a lot going on. Do you all work on the show, or there's like a leading force within the band, or even a supervision, by a team behind every detail that you actually put in your show?
Spencer is definitely the leading force there in seeing that, making sure that his vision for what's happening is being executed correctly. And I think between him, who's ever designing the light show, who's ever helping us on stage as actors, or as people that are helping set the scenes and stuff. I think that's kind of everybody together brings their ideas on how we can achieve certain things on stage. And as long as it's executing Spencer's vision correctly, and he is, he'll tell us if it's good or if it's not quite there yet. Stuff gets adjusted on tour all the time based on the stage, and as long as the idea is being executed correctly, it's not rocket science. It's not too much of a hard thing to do. Spencer and the people involved in the production pretty much handle it and handle it very well. I think our show is so cool to see and so cool to watch, and much different than any other metal band that you're going to see.
Thanks, Patrick, for your time, and please send my best also to Dan, and I hope he's feeling better.
I absolutely will. He is healing. He is doing very well.
It actually took 2 guitarists to fill in.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so thanks very, very much, and have a nice day, and see you next time.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Grazie. Ciao.
Ciao.